Hello, football fans, and welcome. It's Answer the Call podcast, and I have a lot to talk about today, guys. A lot to talk about. We're going to do a deep dive into some of the college football games coming up this weekend. The high takes of the week, we got those coming. The call out segment, and we're going to do a little recap of the Monday night football game between the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys. All that and more on Answer the Call. Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday, November 11th, 2024. 2024 is almost over, guys. It's almost over. Holy crap. We're actually going to do things a little different today. I'm actually going to do the call out segment first because I really just kind of got a lot to get off my chest a little bit. So we're going to start with that. We're going to start with that today and, just kind of go from there and see how the show goes today. So we got a lot. So call out segment, we have a call of fame and a call of shame, baby. The call of fame, I would like to honor and recognize Mr. Bo Nix. Bo Nix. He's a rookie quarterback for the Denver Broncos. He's the first rookie to ever to have a game with 80% passing completion, 300 plus passing yards, and 4 plus passing touchdowns. Mr. Bo Nix, congratulations. Early in the season, everybody's on the Jayden Daniels bandwagon. I'm one of them. Maybe some people slept on you. You were a very experienced college quarterback, and you were actually getting compared to Mr. Drew Brees, and that's a great company to be in right there. And 80% completion, 300 plus passing yards, 4 plus passing touchdowns. That's a great game. That's a great game this week, man. So good job. I know it was against the Falcons defense, but still, hey, you deserve it. Good job. Good job. Somebody that doesn't deserve a good job makes the call of shame. And honestly, like, come on, guys. Come on. You have got to prove us wrong at some point this season. You have to stop being who you are and be somebody else, because I could literally make a whole show about you guys. I could probably make a whole reality TV show about you guys. So the call of shame is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have allowed 37.4 points per game at home this season. That is most points per game allowed at home by any team in a season in NFL history. So what are you guys doing? Get your head screwed on right. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with you guys. You lose 34-10 to the Texans, a struggling team. I just don't know what is going on here. What is going on with the Dallas Cowboys? Do they need a new coach? Do they need a new owner? Yes. Do they need a new GM? Which, yes, because their owner is their acting GM. So you guys got a lot of problems, and you're causing a lot of heartache for Cowboy fans. And I'm sure Cowboy fans probably maybe they took the day off from work today. I don't know. I work with one, and he wasn't there at work today, so I just gotta assume that maybe all Cowboy fans called in to kind of really just take an extra day to, recompose herself after that terrible loss at home to the Houston Texans. And not only that, it is an in-state rival. Okay, that would be, like the Giants allowing the Jets to come in and embarrass them, or the Jets to come in and allow the Giants to embarrass them. But like a Florida team like Tampa Bay and Jacksonville, like an in-state rival, in-state. But no, the Cowboys decide that they just want to go ahead and lose another. Are you guys trying to get Travis Hunter, trying to get Shedeur Sanders? What is your game plan for losing all these games? It is a crazy time. Cowboys, had a field goal, a 64-yard field goal, accepted the penalty, which I get, But then they had a turnover on downs later on that drive, so they hung the points on the board, and then after that, the Texans just walked right up. Because at that point, it was it would have been a 20-13 ball game, and after that, it was just kind of Texans just gonna keep doing what they're doing. So Cowboys, you're making the call of shame today. You're making that call of shame. Cowboys losing to the Texans at home. Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones. Also, yesterday we talked about Mr. Daniel Jones getting benched. Well, I actually have some news on that. Okay. Brian Daboll, there's a growing sense he is coaching for his job, even though the owner previously came out and said both him and GM Joe Schoen, I don't know. I probably butchered that, and I'm sorry. Said that they will be returning for 2025, but looks like things are changing in New York for the Giants, and Mr. O'Dable might be coaching for his job. Might be coaching for his job by the time the season ends. So, Giants might need a new coach. Cowboys might be getting a new coach. Jags might be getting a new coach. It's a lot of interesting names. Could Belichick actually become Cowboys' next head coach? He does. He is kind of the opposite of what Jerry Jones wants, but Jerry Jones doesn't like his coaches pushing back. That's why he let Jimmy Johnson go, and the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since. So Jerry might try to go a different route to bring one more championship to the team. Bill might be what the Cowboys need. I don't know. He might be what the Cowboys need. I don't see that he would be the option. Honestly, I could honestly see maybe Mike Vrabel being a name thrown out there because the offensive-minded coaches aren't working, and Vrabel, he's not going to push back a whole lot. He's going to push back a little, but not a whole lot. Also, Belichick, I'm hearing that Bill Belichick is actually interested in keeping an eye on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I actually like that one for Bill. It's down south. It's on the East Coast. It's what he's familiar with. And, I think that would be a good move. And then he can, he's already got a quarterback, a decent offense. He can bolster up that defense a little bit, but I don't want him having full control. I don't want Bill having control of the team. I don't want him having complete and utter control because I just don't think that that's the way to go. If Bill wants to come in and be a head coach, bring in a GM, that would be fine. But I think if you give Bill personnel control and head coach, no, thank you on that. Speaking of GMs and coaches and being fired, breaking news that just happened about 20 minutes ago. So right before the show started, Jets fired general manager Joe Douglas. Interesting. That is very interesting because now we have Joe Douglas. They got rid of their head coach, so now they're going to be looking for a GM head coach. Maybe Woody says, hey, you know what, Bill, come on in. I'll let you have control of the team. And maybe Bill Belichick goes to the Jets. That would kind of, be the ultimate screw you to the Patriots and Robert Kraft. But we'll have to see how this plays out. This is an exciting time of year. The playoff race is heating up. And all these teams that have been struggling, and we don't like to see it. We don't promote, people losing their job, but it's how the world turns and how the cookie crumbles. And now, we're seeing teams kind of coaches on the hot seat a little bit more. Nick Sirianni has done a really great job since the bye. He shaved his head and has went on a big winning streak. So his job was a little hot at the beginning of the season. His job is not hot anymore. So I like that. Now, Brian Dable, he kind of was not on the hot seat, and now all of a sudden he kind of is on the hot seat, and Doug Peterson's been on the hot seat all season. And, Jets fired Robert Saleh. They fired Joe Douglas just now, so now they're looking for a new GM and head coach. A lot of teams going to be, needing a new head coach. So there's a couple of names out there. I like Mike Vrabel over Bill Belichick, though. If I was an owner, I would rather have him. So we'll have to keep an eye on it as the season goes on, guys. But that was just some of the news that happened and some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. Today's Tuesday, and you guys know what that means. It's Hot Take Day. Hot Take of the Week day. Let's go. A listener has tuned in and listened and said, hey, I want to be a part of this. So he sent me his hot take. It's kind of an interesting one and a hot one, so to speak. Also, if you guys ever want to be a part of it, have your hot take put on the show, you can reach out, answer the call at gmail.com, answer the call, COLL, on Instagram. You can find us there on Instagram, answer_the_call, COLL. We're also on Spotify in the podcast section. You can comment on the episode there, answer the call, COLL. So many ways to get a hold of us. And if you guys want to be a part of the show, guys, and you want your hot take put on there, or you want to see how you can stack up versus how we stack up, let us know, guys. We welcome that. We definitely welcome that. And if you're enjoying the show, drop a follow, tap on the bell so you don't ever miss a notification of when we're live or when the show gets posted. So, but it is hot take of the week. The listener's hot take, and I'm not going to mention the name, I mean, not that maybe some of you know him, maybe some of you don't, but I'm not going to mention his name. So the listener has said his hot take is Chiefs will lose 2 in a row and the Panthers will win this week. Wow. He says Panthers have been playing some good ball. They've been playing all right. Hubbard is hard to stop, and when the ball isn't in Mahomes' hands, the Chiefs struggle. Panthers will win the time of possession and seal the deal. Wow. That is a hot take, my guy. That is a hot take. So that's really interesting. It's real interesting. Andy Reid doesn't have a history of losing too many in a row, and this is a kind of a struggling team. But I could also see Sunday, and then next Friday, the following Friday is Black Friday versus the Raiders. So maybe the Chiefs are looking a little bit past the Panthers, but I don't know. That's his hot take, though, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Steven's hot take of the week. He is actually going with the Los Angeles Chargers over the Baltimore Ravens. He is doing it, guys. He has said, he was impressed with what the Chargers were able to do against the Bengals. And he thinks that old Jim can get one up on old brother John. So we'll have to see how that plays out on next Monday night. And I'm hoping them Chargers do take down the Ravens. But hey, anything can happen any given day, right? I have a hot take. I have an interesting one, guys. I have one, and guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, this one's gonna surprise you a little bit. This week, I decided to go a different route. I am not taking the Cowboys as my hot take. What? I know. It's hard for me to imagine it too. I can sit here and make them my hot take every week, but the truth of the matter is I'm not going to take them, okay? I'm not going to do it this week. My hot take of the week is the Giants beating the Bucks. Bucks have struggled this year. They are getting Mike Evans back, but I don't think that will matter much. Giants are benching Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito is starting. He has had success in a few starts for the Giants, in the past. Maybe this is a spark the Giants need. Maybe this is exactly what Brian Daboll needs to keep his job, which I'm actually hearing that is why he went with Tommy DeVito instead of going with Drew Lock, because he might be coaching for his job. So he's trying to pull out all the stops, guys. He is trying to pull out all the stops. If Giants get a run game going, that could help, DeVito a lot. Take some of that pressure off of him. Giants had a bye week, so that, great time to make a change. Great time, look for the Jags, to kind of maybe follow suit here. And I'm waiting, I've got the news. I've got the news pulled up, so if any breaking news happens. But, the Giants have had extra time. They've had extra time to let Tommy DeVito get, acclimated with the offense. Giants will win a close one, and this will seal the fate of Daniel Jones. This will be the final nail in the coffin. This will be the last season Daniel Jones is a New York Giant. And now I'm actually, it kind of makes sense, So Daniel Jones has like a $24 million guaranteed in his contract if he was to get injured. But all of his actual guaranteed money is already taken care of the first 2 years. So he isn't really guaranteed anything unless he got hurt now. So now bench him the rest of the season. It's kind of what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson, If he got hurt, then he would be owed like so much money. It's kind of like an injury clause in the contract. And so this is a smart move, for the Giants. It's a smart move for Brian Daboll, who probably now coaching for his job. So, and don't expect to see Daniel Jones as a New York Football Giant next season. That June 1st cut deadline. Look for him to be there, and he's gonna be a free agent. So I don't know. Do you sign him for 1 year and let draft a rookie quarterback and let that rookie kind of sit behind him? Like if you're like the Raiders, or if you were, what if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back? Do you let do you sign him if you're the Jets and then draft, or, I don't know. It's so Raiders, Jets, Patriots have their quarterback. Browns, Deshaun Watson. So that doesn't make much sense. So, Panthers, maybe Panthers decide that Bryce Young isn't and they want to draft a QB. I don't know, guys. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting to kind of see what happens. Okay, so my hot take, just to recap, the listener's hot take was the Panthers over the Chiefs. Steven's hot take was the Chargers over the Ravens. And my hot take was the Giants over the Bucks. So we have some interesting hot takes, guys. We got some good football, and that starts Thursday night with the Steelers and Browns, big AFC North division rival. Even though the Browns are struggling this year, it is still the Browns versus Steelers, and anything can happen. So, that'll be a good one that one will be a good one to get into and see what happens. We have some college games though. We have some really good college games. Not as much as in some of the recent weeks, but we still do have, we still have a few. I'm looking at NC State, Georgia Tech. I'm looking at Akron and Kent State. Let's freaking go. Kent State is going to get a win tonight. I am calling it. They will finally end their winless season, guys. I am calling it right now. Right here. It is 11:51 Central Time. 11:51 a.m. Central Time. So we're just right before the noon hour on this Tuesday, November 19th, and I am picking Kent State over Akron. I'm going to go ahead and do a little deep dive, and then, you already know my prediction. My prediction is Kent State will finally get a win this season and a close one. I couldn't contain myself. I was a little too excited. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. I apologize. But I wanted to talk about this game for one reason, and that's to see if Kent State can finally end their losing streak. Kent State won only one game last season, and they're the only winless team this season. They are winless this season. Akron is favored by 10. They're favored by 10. According to ESPN Matchup Predictor, Akron has 76.2% of winning, while Kent State has a 23.8% chance of winning. So you're telling me there's a chance. There's a chance. There's always a chance, guys. Always a chance. Akron has lost 4 of their last 5. They only have 2 wins on the season. So, if Kent State's going to do it, they've got to do it tonight. They got to do it right here tonight, guys. Kent State is the only team in FBS to not have a win. Let's see how they match up with the stats. All right, so this is crazy. Little MAC conference, the little MAC conference, the MAC. I think that's like the Mid-Atlantic Conference, I think, or so anyway, Akron has a slight edge in the points per game at 18.8 to Kent State's 14.9. Yikes, they're barely scoring 2 touchdowns a game, guys. Whew. Total touchdowns, slight edge to Akron, 22 to 20. Total TDs for Kent State. Total first downs, Akron 170, Kent State 136. Rushing first downs, Kent State has 54, Akron has 52. Passing first downs, 98 for Akron, 59 for Kent State. Oh man. This ain't looking good. Third down efficiency. Akron is 43 out of 135 for a 33.33% on third down. Meanwhile, Akron is a 27 out of 134 for a 20.15%. On fourth down, Akron is 4 out of 14 for a 28.57%. Meanwhile, Kent State is 8 out of 18 for 44.44% on fourth downs. Let's go. All right, so they kind of good on fourth downs. Passing yards per game, and this is not even freaking close. 231.8 to 154.7. Wow. Kent State cannot pass the ball. I think the only team that has less passing yards per game might be Army. But at least they're undefeated. Passing touchdowns, although they don't pass very much, they do have 15 passing touchdowns to Akron's 13. Interceptions, Akron has 10. Kent State has 11. Sacks and yards lost. This is pretty bad. Kent State has 34 for minus 201, so they've lost 201 yards due to a sack. Meanwhile, Akron has lost 27 sacks taken for minus 193, so lost 193 yards. Rushing yards, this is about as close of a stat these two teams have in this one. And that's the rushing per game, and that's 82.0 to 75.6. So You know, it's pretty even in the rushing game. Rushing touchdowns, though, Akron has 7 and Kent State has 3. Yards per game, 313.8 for Akron and only 230.3 for Kent State. Holy crap, that's not a good look, guys. That's not a good look. Field goals made and versus attempted. Akron is 10 out of 13, while Kent State's only 4 out of 8. Time in possession. And I think this is like an average time of possession per game. They're actually pretty even. 27 minutes, 50 seconds for Akron, 27 minutes, 1 second for Kent State. So, you know, pretty decent there. Fumbles and fumbles lost. Akron has 13 fumbles. They have lost 9 of those. Kent State has 18 fumbles, have lost 7 of those. Wow. Turnover ratio, this is atrocious, guys. This is absolutely terrible. -11 for Akron and -10 for Kent State. Penalties. Akron commits quite a bit of penalties. 61 penalties for 469 yards. That's 46 yards penalty yardage per game. Kent State, they have 43 penalties for 310, and that's a penalty average of 31 per game. So I don't know. Maybe I should change my pick. I mean, after looking at these stats and kind of doing a slightly deeper dive into things, maybe I should do it, guys. But I'm not. My prediction is Kent State will finally get a win this season and a close one. They're going to do it, guys. They're going to do it. I can feel it. Kent State is going to beat Akron and finally get a win. And that'll be the only win this season that Kent State gets. And so then we can make fun of Akron for being the only team to lose to Kent State this year. So I am going to go with Kent State. I hope I'm right. That'd be a great way to start the college week. And I don't know if I'm going to keep that at, I mean, maybe I should keep it in my tally sheet, but maybe this game should just have like a little asterisk beside it because I mean, it's kind of hard to pick these two teams. There is a lot of good games that I'm going to be going over today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday if we need to. So we're going to get you set up with some of these games, and to kind of help do a slightly deeper dive into some of these games. Another game I want to talk about today, and that's because the game is on Thursday, so I want plenty of people to actually hear what is going on. And that is a game between NC State and Georgia Tech. Wow, Georgia Tech. All right. Georgia Tech. All right, this is an ACC matchup. At the beginning of the year, NC State, they were ranked 24th in the nation. I think they got as high as 22nd. I'm not sure. But that didn't last long. Week 2, they lost to Tennessee. They lost to Tennessee pretty bad. Tennessee and the Duke Mayo Classic, Tennessee kind of smacked them around a little bit. And ever since then, NC State has had a rocky season, guys. They have not had a great season. It's kind of been up and down, up and down. They are currently 5-5 and will need to win at least one game to make a bowl this season. So if they want to get bowl eligible, they need to win at least one of these last 2 games. They have Georgia Tech this week and North Carolina next week. So nothing is guaranteed here. North Carolina, started out hot, kind of fell off the wagon with the 4-game losing streak. Now North Carolina's back up to a 2-game winning streak. So we don't know, guys. We don't know. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. Let's see. NC State has lost 3 out of their last 5, including a 29-19 loss to Duke last week. So they lost to Duke last week. And I think that was like after a 2-game winning streak or something. So let's see. Georgia Tech is 6-4 on the season, and they're already bowl eligible. They're already eligible for the bowl game. They have won 3 out of their last 5. They have won 3 out of their last 5. They beat Miami last week to snap their 2-game losing streak. Georgia Tech is led by their rushing QB who can make the passes when he needs to, but he doesn't like to, guys. He's a rushing quarterback. Haynes King has 1,600 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also has 447 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. So a little dual threat quarterback for Georgia Tech. This is actually a really good one. I like this one. Breaking down this one. This one, it's kind of gotten exciting for me. NC State, 28.6 points per game. Georgia Tech, 27.7. So they're kind of even, guys. This should be a good game. Total touchdowns, Georgia Tech has a slight edge, 36 to NC State's 34. Total first downs, 210 for Georgia Tech, 198 for NC State. Rushing first down, so 97 for Georgia Tech, only 61 for NC State. Now passing first downs, kind of even. NC State has a slight edge, 112 to 104. Passing first downs. First down by penalties. This is crazy. Georgia Tech only has 9 first downs by a penalty, so somebody jumping off sides, defensive holding, that sort of thing. They only have 9. That's interesting. Meanwhile, NC State has 25. Third down efficiency, 46 for 122. That's a 37.71 for NC State. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech has 52 for 129. That's a 40.31%. Fourth down efficiency, pretty even here. 9 out of 15 for a 60% chance on fourth down for NC State. Meanwhile, on fourth down, Georgia Tech is 14 out of 23, 60.87%. So pretty even there. Pretty even there, guys. All right, next up is passing yards per game. And we have pretty even. NC State has a slight edge. 240.5 to 230.9 on Georgia Tech. Passing touchdowns, kind of similar. Kind of close, but NC State does have a slight edge in that one. 16 passing touchdowns to only 12 for Georgia Tech. Interceptions thrown. NC State has thrown 8 as a team. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech has only thrown 5. They've only thrown 5 interceptions as a team all season, guys. That's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff right there. Georgia Tech isn't turning the ball over, so sacks and yards lost. And this one here, guys, absolutely blows my mind when I read it to you. You'll understand why. Okay, so NC State has 21 sacks on the season for negative 122 yards. Okay. That's not terrible. I mean, roughly losing, but hey, that's not something crazy. So Georgia Tech has 4 sacks taken on the season. Only 4. And they have only lost 20 yards due to a sack. So they're not getting to the quarterback. The quarterback is not losing a lot of yards. I mean, they're only losing 5 yards per sack. I mean, that's a pretty good recipe if you want to win. That's a pretty good recipe if you want to win. Rushing per game. This is where Georgia Tech just kind of has the edge. Georgia Tech tends to be that option team, that triple option, the read option, and that sort of thing. They have 186.2 rushing yards per game to NC State's 121.6. So, slight edge there, and rushing touchdowns, slight edge to Georgia Tech. 24 rushing touchdowns to NC State's 15. They also have the edge in the total yards per game. 417.1 total yards per game to 362.1 for NC State. So they have the edge there. Field goals made and attempted. NC State has made 16 out of 21. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech has made 8 out of 13. So their field goal kicker is not as good. Okay. So they kind of like to get that ball into the end zone and not rely on the kicker. Penalties. This is a crazy one. 54 penalties for NC State for negative 501 yards. So they lose 50 yards per game on average due to penalties. Does NC State. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech has 50 penalties for negative 394. That's an average loss of 39 yards per game. So, time of possession, pretty even. NC State has a slight edge. 31 minutes, 41 seconds to 30 minutes, 18 seconds for Georgia Tech. Fumbles lost. 8. Okay, fumbles and fumbles lost to lost. Fumbles, 18. They have lost 10 of those, has NC State. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech has only fumbled 7 times as a team, and they've only lost one fumble, guys. 1 out of 7. Not bad. For NC State, the turnover ratio is a -3, and Georgia Tech, their turnover ratio is 1. Okay, so they're not throwing interceptions. Okay, they have 5 interceptions as a team thrown. They only have 1 fumble, so they only have 6 turnovers. So that means that they only have 7 takeaways as a team. That is probably where the struggles lie in Georgia Tech, is their defense. Their defense isn't as good as that offense, and or at least in the turnover battle. I don't know what the yards allowed looks like. I would love to have done a little bit deeper on that one, but from my take, Georgia's defense isn't getting the takeaways. So, you need to get that pressure on the quarterback, make him fumble, make him throw an interception, make the running backs fumble, do whatever you got to do. But something, you need to get those takeaways and help out that offense. Well, we have another one that is real good today. And I wanted to get through that one today too, because I wanted you guys to get ready. I wanted you guys to get ready for this one, because this one could be a good one. I hope it's a good one. But, I mean, we just never know, because this game is Army versus Notre Dame. Okay, Army versus Notre Dame. That's, Army's undefeated, guys. They're one of 3 teams in the nation that is still undefeated. Here we are, week 12, week 13 in the college, week 13 in the college football world. Yeah, we're in week 13 in the college football world, and Army is still undefeated. Go ahead and raise your hand and pat yourself on the back if you truly thought Army was going to go undefeated right now. I'll wait. No one really predicted that, guys. No one predicted Army being one of the last 3 undefeated. And not only that, I mean, it's Army, Oregon, and Indiana as the last 3. They are facing their hardest team of the season, though. They're going to South Bend. Take on them Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And, oof. They've been playing good, guys. They've been playing good. Army is a run-heavy team. They are a run-heavy team, and we're going to go, I'm going to go into that here in just a minute, but Army is a very run-heavy team. They got the win last week with only 15 yards passing, so, Army doesn't pass the ball a lot. We thought that, Kent State didn't pass the ball. Well, Army really doesn't pass the ball, guys. So what we got here is, a good old matchup, hopefully. They will need to score early and control the clock if they are going to win. Notre Dame is currently on an 8-game winning streak. They beat Texas A&M to start the season, then lost to Northern Illinois. I don't know how you lose to Northern Illinois, but they did. And so, but since then they've won 8 straight. So they got back on the wagon and they're doing things right. They're also a very balanced team. Slightly better stats on in the run game. So when they run the ball, they have slightly better numbers than in the passing. But overall, they're a pretty even, balanced team on offense. And I'm hoping this is a better one than the Notre Dame versus Navy. Navy was undefeated, and Notre Dame came in and really pushed them around. So I hope that it's not the same outcome. I really hope Army makes this a game. Army has to win this if they want to keep any playoff chance alive. And they have a very slim chance, guys. A very slim chance of making the college playoffs. But I mean, if they win here, I mean that's a big win, and that's hard for a committee to overlook a win like this. So, all right, guys. We talked about Army not passing the ball. Well, how much do they not pass the ball? If you guys want to know, I'm about to tell you. Army only has 765 yards passing this season as a team. All year. All year, guys. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? So they have 765 yards passing and 8 passing touchdowns. Of those 800 or 765, senior Casey Reynolds has 11 catches, 317 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And junior Noah Short has 11 catches, 259 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The rest of the team only has 2 touchdown catches combined, and no one other than Reynolds and Short has over 100 yards receiving all season. So really, it's like a three-man team on offense. The quarterback, the running back, and a wide receiver. Okay, so they only have 765 yards of passing, but they have 3,014 yards rushing. Okay, so what they lack in the passing game, they make up for in running. But Notre Dame's not one of these, AAC teams that you can just run all over. You're going to have to be able to throw the ball and stay balanced and hit play action and stuff like that. And I don't know, guys. I don't know. I really hope Army pulls this one off. But, if you can't pass the ball against Notre Dame, you might be in trouble because that team is going to put up the points. And you can only run the ball so much. So, according to ESPN Matchup Predictor, Notre Dame has an 87.7% chance, and Army has a 12.3% chance of winning. Looking at this, Notre Dame is kind of the opposite of Army. They don't like to run the ball as much. I mean, they don't really pass the ball as much, but they don't run they don't run like Army, that's for sure. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. Okay, so passing yards as a team, Notre Dame has 1,990 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. So pretty good. Rushing, they do have a lot better than I thought. They just kind of don't have one person doing it. And their quarterback actually is a dual threat. So as a team, they have 2,167 yards rushing and 32 rushing touchdowns. Of that, their quarterback has 641 yards rushing and 13 rushing touchdowns. So he's a dual threat. I did not realize that Riley Leonard was such a dual threat, but he is. He has 1,789 yards passing with 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and then also the rushing. So he's definitely doing it. And what I like is, so out of the 1,990 yards passing, no receiver has over 500 yards for Notre Dame. I'll do one better. No receiver has over 400 yards for Notre Dame. So they spread the ball. They don't rely on just one person to carry the team. So, Army's going to have to be able to defend that, and that's going to be tough. That's going to be a little tough for that's going to be tough for that Army defense. Now, on the flip side, let's see, their quarterback, Mr. Bryson Daly. So as a team, they only have 765 yards passing. Of that, Bryson Daly is 29 out of 51, 644 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. So, but, of that 3,014, Bryson Daly, the quarterback, has 174 carries, 1,062 yards rushing, and 21 touchdowns. Holy crap. Your quarterback is your leading rusher and you're undefeated. That doesn't happen very often. And then their running back doesn't even have quite 1,000 yet. He's at 856 with 9 touchdowns. And then their other running back has 439 and 2 touchdowns. So, Army's a real run heavy team. They got that they run that wishbone option offense. They got that wishbone that they like to run. So Army's going to need to get the ball first, score, and then if Notre Dame scores, then Army needs to control the clock, slow things down, take 10 minutes to score. And if you get the ball first and you take 15 minutes to score, you take 15 minutes to score. As long as you are winning the time of possession and the turnover battle, and and you're able to kind of control that clock, and your defense isn't allowing more points than what you're scoring, you're going to be able to beat Notre Dame, guys. It is doable. It is doable for Army to come in to South Bend and walk out with a win. It is definitely doable. So we have those games. I wanted to talk about those games. The first two, because the Kent State game is tonight. I'm going Kent State. Give me Kent State for the win. First win of the season. Make fun of Akron, however you want to pronounce it. It doesn't matter, because after they lose, we're going to have something to talk about. There are some good games, guys. We talked about the NC State Georgia Tech game, the Army Notre Dame game. We talked about the Kent State game tonight. Guys, they're still the game of the week. The showdown, the heavyweight fight, Indiana between Ohio State, and this one won't be, so lopsided like the old Tyson fight was, and I feel bad. Because, I wanted Tyson to win, but that's boxing. This is football. We got BYU, Arizona State, Big 12 matchup with playoff implications on the line. Big 12 picture on the line. Let's go. We got Bama, Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, UConn, and Syracuse. We have Kentucky and Texas, Ole Miss and Florida, Texas A&M, Auburn, Vandy, LSU. Lots of good games this week, guys. You just have to appreciate what what everyone's doing. And this isn't a knock on my co-host, because he doesn't watch as much college football as I do, and that's okay. But he came out and said, well, there's not as many good games this week. I don't know, there is some good games this week. You just gotta be able to find them, and that's what I'm doing this week, you guys. I'm giving you those games that I think are going to be good ones, that could be worth watching. That maybe you don't know, because you don't know much about Vandy, LSU this year, or maybe you don't know much about Wisconsin, Nebraska this year, or the NC State, Georgia Tech. They're not great teams, but the matchup could be good. So that's what I'm doing this week, is I'm doing a little dive into some of these games to try to get you guys ready for this weekend. I think I'm out of time. We've had a great show, guys. Tomorrow's show is the fantasy segment where we give you our players we like, don't like, and a few boom or bust options. So you don't want to miss that, guys. You guys have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.